I'd be clarifying the anthropological aspect in deep. What does the surname Mahaldar means, and also I will focus on the geographical aspects of River Mahananda and Fular. So, as I have titled it as riparian livelihoods, so let's try to understand who are riparian actually. Riparian refers to the people, communities, and ecosystems living along or closely associated with river banks and fresh water bodies. Mahaldar means chief or head of the fishing community. It has been speculated that the title Mahaldar, associated with the word Mahal, a large area surrounded by pond or river or any kind of tributary or a big lake. So, which means, in addition, which means a particular area in the form of a long pond or any other form of small sweet water body taken in the lease or fishing business purposes. Our community has developed its existence beside river and other water bodies. And of course, this community is an indigenous Indian fisherman community. Uh, in Malda, most of the colonies of the Mahaldar community are located on the banks of rivers Ganga. Locally this river is named as River Fulhar, tributary of Ganga, and Mahananda, uh, Kalindi, or a local river named as Baromasia. So most of them earn their livelihood by fishing and boating. Even in most of their cultural and religious festivals and folklore, the references of river is quite visible. And the geographical aspect is about that all this community like such as live near the villages such as Bajitpur colony, Mahaldarpara, etc. And the villages such as Valga Bajar, Bajitpur colony, Fatehpur, Gobra, villages belongs to Malda district, North Malda, and some parts of Bihar, including Lavha, Ahmedabad, belongs to Kahia district, are surrounded by rivers Fulhar and Mahananda. And next slide, sir, please. This I have already talked about the riparian landscape. Next slide, sir. Now the objectives is quite interesting part of my presentation. That is to first point to examine climate crisis impacts, like how climate change affects river health and fishermen's livelihood. Next is to understand emotional stress and uncertainty experienced by fishing communities due to ecological changes. For example, untimely rain, droughts, and occasional overflow of rainwater result in significant losses for us, affecting both fishing and our lives along the river banks. Additionally, water regulation through lock gates has an adverse impact on our livelihood. For example, I remember when I was conversing with my father about the scarcity of the river Baromasia. I came to know that because of that, a log gate was established near the area of Harishchandrapur 2, locally known as Mithna. Because of the log gate, now Baromasia river is not getting sufficient water to flow, and as a result, as a consequence, we the fishermen were not able to fishing properly because of the scarcity of water as well. Uh, for example, I have composed a poem that address this particular issue where the fishermen communities are facing difficulties in terms of proper water sources. For example, I have written in Bengali named a Jal Nei. বৃষ্টি নেই, বন্যা নেই, নদীর বুকে শূন্যতা, শুকনো ঘাসে সাজানো নৌকা বিশ্রামে, জনে জনে জেলে ভাইরা দিল্লি মুম্বাই এ ভাত রুটির সন্ধানে, ফিরে কেউ জনে কেউ বা কফিনে, তীব্র দাবদাহে জেলে নৌকার জলের অপেক্ষা, যা লণ্ঠন আর টিনের আখা, জ্যৈষ্ঠ আষাঢ় শ্রাবণ, কালো মানুষগুলির বৃষ্টিতে মন, জল নেই, বর্ষা নেই, বন্যা নেই, রৌদ্রে দাড়ি বাসে আলকাতরা দেওয়া সারা, সবুজ ঘাসে স্থলে ঘুমন্ত নৌকা বিষাদে, মেঘ বৃষ্টি নেই, কোনো সারে নেই. So these are the real issues that we fishermen communities are facing at present. Next adjective, to explore indigenous ecological knowledge. How our knowledge and our reference to rivers, how our knowledge and our cultures helping to restore ecology. We have been taught to show reverence to nature, and we worship rivers, considering them as Maganga or divine entities. We also worship sacred trees like people, banyan, and pray for the protection of rivers, for safety from disasters that affect the lives of local communities. In addition, we strive to maintain the riverine ecology by adopting sustainable fishing practices that are harmonious with the natural rhythm of the river. For example, nowadays we do not catch tortoise in the river. Even when our fishing communities, if anyone catch gangetic dolphins through net, they generally leave them in the water. But earlier times, like 25 years ago or 30 years ago, our community, had little awareness about this fishing, system. So we are also becoming so, conscious about the riverine ecology and riverine system, so that we can maintain a sustainable ecosystem in the river also. So these are the our contribution, and we are constantly working on it. And next slide, sir. Oh, apply blue humanities as interpretative work. Though I am the son of fisherman, I have spent almost 2 decades, almost 20 years, a prolonged time in the various rivers across Bengal and Bihar with my father. So yes, this presentation is based on my personal experience, and as part of autoethnographic research, we can also say this is a part of autoethnographic research. The experience I had in the past, I'm now just now elaborating. And apart from my personal experiences, now as a theoretical discourse, blue humanities or river humanities or riverine culture, we say river studies. So as part of river studies, blue humanities also as a literary discourse, as a theoretical discourse, working on to focus on river-centric life. And the field blue humanities emerged in 2009, very recent emergence, when Steve Ment coined the term blue or cultural studies. Next question, sir. Next slide. These are the research questions that I have formed, and I hope I will develop my answers on these questions during the making of the full paper. These are the questions like, how is the climate crisis reshaping river ecology? How does ecological imbalance affect community psychology? What role does indigenous knowledge play in
Hello,
restoring
sir.
ecology?
Sorry for the interrupting. Sir, you will have left 8 minutes and you will have more 2 minutes. Please
Okay,
conclude
sir, fine.
quickly, sir. Thank
So,
you, sir.
the scenario of climate crisis and river change. In brief, these communities have witnessed significant transformation in the riparian livelihoods, brought about by changes in river directions and severe river bank erosion. From the ecological perspective, they are losing their existence and glory due to the incessant and massive climate crisis. There was a time these communities used to have golden era of fishing in the rivers, since the rivers were abundant with varieties of fishes. They used to celebrate the vibrant presence of the Gangetic dolphin and witness the blue sky filled with flight of birds with their flowery call along the rivers. Apart from cultivation of fishing, they have dreadfully seen the soil erosion along the banks of River Fulahar, which has left a colossal impact on their lives. Next slide, sir. Yes, cultural and emotional dimension. Rivers hold living memories and shape fishermen communities' identity. Environmental changes create a nostalgia and eco-anxiety. Oral storytelling preserve cultural and ecological memory. Collective practices and tradition foster resilience and adaptation amid shifting river conditions. Next slide, sir. I have already mentioned this part, theoretical part, blue humanities. Sir, please skip, move on the. Yes, conclusion and future direction. Uh, Riverine life reflects a profound connection between ecology, livelihood, and identity, reminding us that indigenous knowledge or indigenous wisdom and lived experiences are vital for climate justice and ecological restoration. To live with the river is to carry its memory, its loss, and its enduring resilience into our future action and policies. I conclude my presentation with a quote that is, to live on the oars is to live with the rivers, memory, its loss, and its readiness. Thank you so much. Thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Mahaldar. Any questions from the participants? I think it was quite interesting, for example, when you said that even the indigenous knowledge the sometimes you have to add to that, and that needs to evolve as well in terms of some of the Gangetic dolphins, for example, etc. And I think that is, I mean, in the sense that we should not think of the indigenous knowledge system as something which is rigid and fixed, but which is also something evolving. Would you like to comment on that?
Yes, sir, of course. Since I have, since I'm educated, I'm getting more education on riverine knowledge and riverine culture. So our people, our fishermen communities, they have little sense about riverine ecology. When I visit those rivers, then I generally communicate with them, I converse with them, I request them to maintain a sustainable riverine fishing system. And as far my knowledge is concerned, sometimes representative from irrigation department, they also sometimes come to make some awareness among the fishermen communities, what should they do in the rivers and what they should not do.
Right.
So yes, we are also evolving, they are also evolving, and since it is my responsibility, apart from my theoretical presentation, apart from my bookish studies, I also do as much as possible for my community and to maintain the riverine ecology in a good way, so that in future to restore riverine ecology, I also playing a little role now. In future, I have so many plans. Let's see, sir, what I can contribute.
Right, right. Best of luck with the plans. If there are no other questions, then we would move on to Mr.
And
Arindam
sir,
Devnath. Yes,
one more thing, that Ministry of Culture, Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts, Ministry of Culture, they are
yes,
also helping me a lot to undertake lots of projects. I'm working on this, and after my PhD, after the completion of my PhD, I hope they are ready to help me.
right, right. No, that is very good that you have made an impact at the policy level. Um, so thank you, Mr. Mahaldar, and we move on to Mr. Arindam Devnath's presentation, which is revisiting the landslides and ecological disaster that happened in Darjeeling in 2015. Um, Sir, if you're ready, then I will stop this presentation and you can start yours. I'm requesting Mr. Arindam Devnath, Assistant Professor, Chakda College, to begin his presentation, please. Arindam sir, I think you're muted.
Audible, sir? Hello.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Sir, my presentation title is The Deluge and the Hills, Unpacking the 2015 Darjeeling Landslides. Sir, in Darjeeling Hills, the renowned globally for their verdant tea gardens and misty vistas and the majestic backdrop of Kanchenjunga Peak, have long been a symbol of serene beauty. However, beneath this idyllic facade lies in a landscape of profound geological dynamism. The eastern Himalayas, of which Darjeeling is a part, are young and unstable, we all know, and continuously evolving, making them inherently susceptible mass wasting events like landslides happening each and every year. In 2015, Darjeeling landslides concentrated in the districts of Darjeeling and Kalimpong were triggered by exceptionally heavy monsoon rains. However, to attribute the disaster solely to rainfall would be a profound oversimplification. The catastrophe was a classic example of a natural technological disaster, where a natural trigger interacts with pre-existing human induced vulnerabilities to produce a tragedy of magnified proportion. Section 1, the trigger, the unprecedented monsoon deluge. The southwest monsoon is the lifeline of Indian subcontinent. But in 2015, year of 2015, it behaved more like a wrathful force upon the Darjeeling hills. The month of July witnessed significant deviation from normal rainfall patterns. Record-breaking rainfall, known as meteorological data, indicated the region received over 500 rain in just 48 hours between July 26 and 28. Some stations recorded more than 350 in a single 24-hour cycle, a figure that nearly equals the average rainfall of the entire month. The mechanism of failure: landslide in this region typically occur as debris flows and shallow slides. The relentless rain into the soil, increasing the pore water pressure and adding immense weight. This process reduces the shear strength of the slope-forming materials, primarily loose, weathered rocks and soil. When the resisting forces are overcome by the driving forces of gravity, water pressure, the slope fails, the water acts as lubricant, transforming stable earth into a fluid one. In section 2, I have discussed the underlying causes, a legacy of human vulnerability. Darjeeling Hills have been a crucible of human settlement and economic activity for over 2 centuries. Each phase of development, while bringing prosperity for people of their own district, has also systematically and Damuda series. These rocks, primarily of seeds and phyllites, are inherently weak and prone to winery. The anthropogenic amplifiers, human activities have dramatically accelerated this natural propensity for instability. And infrastructure boom moving vegetative to cover and altering natural drainage patterns. The road to the peril, the lifelines of the hills, the highways and the roads connecting Darjeeling to Siliguri and Sikkim, NH10 and NH110, are engineering marvels but ecologically nightmares. Their construction involves extensive slope cutting, often without proper engineering measures taken, like retaining walls or adequate drainage. The excavated debris is often dumped downslope, creating unstable artificial fields. This road acts as stressor and of the slope. During heavy rain, become primary channels for the landslides and blocking all movement. Section 3, the impact and chronicle of death and disruption. The convergence of the extreme rainfall and these human-made vulnerabilities are resulted in a disaster of monumental proportions. The worst region has seen in decades. Human toll and tragedy, the most devastating impact was the loss of human life. Official figure placed the death toll over 3 dozen, but unofficially many believed that the actual number was higher, with some reports suggesting it could be closer to 60 or more. The village of Miri, a picturesque tourist stop, was among the worst of affected. A massive landslide swept through the Singijhora area, burying homes and vehicles carrying passengers under tons of mud and debris. Rescue operation by National Disaster Response Force, NDRF, and the Indian Army and local volunteers were hampered. Continuous rain and the treacherous conditions, turning the recovery of bodies and painstaking and heartbreaking process. Beyond the confirmed deaths, thousands of people were stranded, landslide cut off entire villages, and like leaving them isolated without food, clean water, medicine, or communication. Infrastructure carnage and economic paralysis. The damage of infrastructure and catastrophe was served a compound to human suffering. Roads and highways, the key arterial roads, were rendered impassable. The National Highway 10, the main link between, as I already mentioned, Siliguri and the hills of Darjeeling, Kalimpong, and the state of Sikkim, was blocked multiple points by massive debris fall. Stranded tourists, thousands of tourists who from backbone of the local economy were trapped in hill station, leading a crisis of accommodation and supplies. Economic blockade, the movement of essential commodities, including food, fuel, medicine, etc., came to a standstill. The prized Darjeeling tea, a major export, could not be transported to the auctions in Siliguri or Kolkata, causing significant financial losses to the planters. Impeded rescue, the very routes needed to rescue and relief were themselves destroyed, creating.
Sorry for the interrupting, sir. Hello, sir. Sir, you have left 8 minutes and more 2 minutes you
Okay,
have
okay,
get.
okay.
Please
I'm
conclude.
concluding my session.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
And then the conclusion, the illusion of control, it understood the futility of attempting the tame of Himalayas with engineering alone without respecting their ecological limits. Next, the need of sustainable development. There was a renewed call for stringent enforcement of building codes and responsible land use planning and a halt of indiscriminate construction of step slope. Early warning systems. The disaster gave impetus to the development of more sophisticated landslide early warning system, also known as EWS, that can monitor rainfall threshold and soil movement, providing crucial and timely evacuation. In conclusion, in a precarious future, in 2015, Darjeeling landslides were a profound human and ecological tragedy. They were not merely a natural disaster, but a constructed one, born from a long history ignoring the fragile balance of the mountain ecosystem. The heavy rains were just the trigger, but the bullet was loaded, and decades of deforestation, unplanned development, and unsustainable land use practices. The memory of the July 2015 deluge or landslide must serve as a permanent warning to the North-Bengal. Without a fundamental shift in how we inhabit, develop, and govern these fragile hills, the next landslide triggered by the next cloudburst. Thank you. Here I may conclude my session.
Thank you so much, Mr. Debnath. If there are any questions for Mr. Debnath on his presentation about the 2015 landslides, kindly ask. In fact, we began the session with a presentation on the testimonies of women regarding the 2025 disaster. So, Mr. Debnath, have you seen any changes in particularly in policy? Because nature, of course, we can't control. Have you seen any changes in policy?
No, sir. Still now, no changes, because in 2050 we can see the next. I have already mentioned the next outburst will be field anytime. Without fundamental shift in how we inhabit, develop, and govern, these outbursts will occur again and again.
Right, right. Yeah. So some food for thought for us. Thank you so much, and Mr. Debnath, for your presentation. Without wasting any more time, we would move on to Ms. Raman's presentation. And in fact, I think from lived experiences and sort of field work and testimonies, we are now moving to literature, if I'm not mistaken. So, Ms.
Yes, sir.
Please start your presentation.
Is my PPT visible, sir?
Yes, it is. But if you can start the slideshow, maybe, then it
Yes,
will be
sir.
a little
I'm
bigger.
going to
Yeah.
start the slideshow. Sir, are the
It is
slides
visible.
moving?
They are moving. Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for the confirmation. I would like to start my presentation now. Very good afternoon to one and all present here. I'm Raman, Research Scholar of English from Punjab Technical University, and title of my presentation is Nature Abundant, Nature Remembered, Locating Ecological Diaspora in Clear versus the Gaia Collection. And the paper is co-authored with Dr. Narinder K. Sharma, Assistant Professor English from Central University of Punjab, Batinda. And in this presentation, I'm going to talking about all these kind of contents, and I'm quickly move to the introduction of this research paper. And in the present time, the planet bears the scars of human progress. There is the paradox where civilization's trumps are mirrored by the ecological trauma and environmental degradation. As we can see that environmental crises have ceased to be an isolated natural events and have instead become enduring cultural, psychological, and moral catastrophes and and against this backdrop, Claire Burst, that is an emerging English author, and her trilogy of novels called the Gaia Collection. It includes three novels, The Gaia Effect, The Gaia Project, and Gaia Solution. It emerged as a speculative archive of ecological memory and loss. And this paper wants to critically explore that how this trilogy resonates powerfully with the central concern of disaster and its afterlife, where ecological destruction engenders not only physical dislocation but also profound a sense of ecological diaspora, that is a state of alienation from the natural world and that once sustained human identity and belonging. And these are the research objectives and theoretical framework used in this paper. Ecological diaspora is an emerging concept. Not only does it appear as a significant prism to comprehend the interrelationship of humans and nature, but it also serves as a mean of finding the narrative of nature exile in literature. And this is how it is contextually relevant in the modern era of environmental crisis. And with an aim to analyze the trilogy called the Gaia Collection through this lens of ecological diaspora, single theoretical framework is perhaps inadequate. Thus, it is crucial to position this research within a conceptual framework that consolidates an interdisciplinary approach encompassing ecology, literary eco-criticism, cultural theory, and environmental psychology. And at the core of this conceptual lens is an idea of independent British scientist, environmentalist, and futurist James Lovelock's Gaia hypothesis. And it was first articulated in the article The Quest for Gaia, in which he proposed that the earth behaves like a single organism, even a living creature. And this methodology highlights how West's trilogy reshapes speculative fiction to be a site of contemplation of humanity's broken relationship with nature. And to begin with the analysis section of this paper, the Gaia collection 20 that was published in 2020, it is set in a futuristic world of 2015. And in this imaginary world, the rule is governed by the corporation, that is the imaginary government in that time. And it is a technocratic regime that has replaced natural ecosystems with artificial habitats. In the novel, the citizens live under constant surveillance and depend on synthetic systems for survival, while the natural world exists only as a fragmented memory for them. This condition of separation from nature serves as a longing for a lost earth, defines what may be termed an ecological diaspora, where displacement is both physical and psychological in the narrative. This vision of exile and remembrance aligns with Lawrence Boyle, that is Lawrence Boyle. He is a professor of American and a pioneer of eco-criticism concept of environmental text, and he foregrounds the non-human as an active narrative presence. And using this framework, the work highlights that how clear versus simulated ecosystems and the lingering consciousness of Gaia echo Boyle's claim that human and natural histories are inseparable. And through Rob Nixon's framework of slow violence, a voice covalence that occurs gradually and out of sight. The novel makes it evident that the persistence aftermath of the event, and this is the aftermath or catastrophe that happened in the novel. And after this event, the concepts and the plot of the trilogy go through after the event, and the tight control of government referred to as corporation on artificial cities. And the cities in the novel or trilogy are known as such as city 42, city 36, city 9. And the loss of, and in the novel there is a depiction of loss of natural childbirth replaced by artificial reproductive systems and baby labs. And these slow systematic changes fragmented the cultural memory and identity that intensify the ecological displacement of the characters throughout the trilogy and directly sustaining the concept of ecological diaspora. Finally, Glenn Albrecht's the idea of solastalgia, that is the psychic distress of losing one's home environment. It captures the trilogy's emotional core. Despite technologically safety, Buss's characters suffer from an inherited grief and nostalgia for Earth, transforming the Gaia collection into a meditation on environmental loss, memory, and the enduring hope of planetary revival. Last, to begin with the conclusion and discussion of this paper, the Gaia collection reimagines environment identity and emotion from the living earth. Through the lens of the ecological diaspora, this paper portrays humanity's entrancement from Gaia as both a wound and call to remembrance. Ultimately, the narrative asserts that societies that have been separated from a natural environment but who carry the memory of that environment and their connection to it are the core experiences of the ecological diaspora. To conclude, stories, whether in novels, are not merely entertainment, they are survival strategies, reminding us of the interdependence between humanity and earth. And I would like to conclude the presentation with the words of Chief Settle, that is a respectable leader of Squamish and the Wamish tribes, and for his wisdom, and he is known for his wisdom and advocacy for peaceful relation with settlers, and his iconic speech on environmentalism reminds humanity that we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. Thank you so much. And thank you for your patience listening. This is the list of works cited. And thank you so much. And I would like to conclude the presentation here.
Thanks a lot. In fact, you didn't even need a reminder of the time. Thanks. An excellent presentation. And it's quite sort of interesting to also see certain echoes of the first presentation of this session, and which was about a real life disaster which took place in the Darjeeling Hills
Yes,
in a far more microcosmic manner in a small region, but the loss and the kind of impact that such disasters have on the human collective. Any questions for Ms. Raman? Please feel free to ask. Anyone?
A very general question I would like to Raman Kaur ma'am.
yes,
Since you are the student of literature, we have gone through so many literary works that talk about nature and ecological disaster. So you
yes.
just share your thoughts. Which are the unique aspects or the unique points that give importance to Claire Bousse's The Gaia collection? I just wanted to know.
Okay. So the first and the foremost thing is that it is based on the concept of James Lovelock's Gaia hypothesis, and Gaia in Greek mythology is rendered as Mother Earth. Okay, and with the time grows and with the emergence of scientifically concepts, this idea of Greek mythology, and that is also resonates to Hindu philosophy of Mother Earth, Bhudevi, and Vasundhara. It has now emerged as a scientific concept, and through James Lovelock's scientific hypothesis and to the emergence of Earth system science. Basically, what I am trying to say that the Indian knowledge system and that we have the religion or the philosophy, they are now being evident in the scientific form also. And this is the most unique concept about this trilogy, that it takes both the forms. It also it is a kind of balance between the mythology, religion, philosophical frameworks, and as well as the scientific concepts, because in postmodern era we are obsessed with scientific things and scientific terms. So we often forget that these are not new ideas. These are from a past generation, from a thousand hundred of years. They are there. So this is the unique concept of this trilogy, and I'm also pursuing my doctoral work with this trilogy, and I'm comparing the cinematic and the literary aspects of both these works. That's why I got interested in the trilogy. And
Thank you, ma'am. Actually, a topic attracted me because I know a student who is working on this topic, particularly Mother Gaia, and then a
yes, sir.
comparative studies he's doing like Adi Prakriti, Mula Prakriti,
Okay,
and
sir.
recently
I am
some
comparing
translation.
the literary and cinematic aspects. And
Yes.
for the cinematic aspects, I have taken a Hindi movie, that is Telugu movie originally, that is the Bhumika. And this movie also explores the concept of Gaia, both in IKS and in modern literature. And I would also like to request all the presenters and co-presenters that please watch that movie. It's available on Netflix, and a very thought-provoking and a very sensitization movie on
Yes.
environmental consciousness in the contemporary time. Thank you so
Right.
much. Thank you for
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mahaldar, for your question. Thanks to
Thank you
Ms.
so
Raman
much.
for answering it. Now we move to the final presentation of this session.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. We move to Mr. Arijit Ghosh, who is an assistant professor in the Department of English at Sardar Vallabhbhai International School of Textiles and Management. And Mr. Ghosh will also speak about literature, and we are really looking forward to your presentation, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay, good afternoon, moderator sir, and good afternoon to all my fellow presenters. I hope I'm audible and visible.
Yes.
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 Okay, sir. Okay. So let me just start presenting my PPT. Sir, could you please confirm me if my PPT is visible?
Sorry, the PPT is visible. It seems a little small. Is it? Is the
Yes,
screen
yes.
small for everyone? Yeah.
Yeah, yes. Sir, I hope now it is a bit. You can
Yeah.
zoom on your part also. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the subject of my paper. I mean, decoding the mystifying phenomenon of existential crisis, traversing the terrains of Sundarban trilogy by Amitav Ghosh. And before I come into the essence of my paper, I would like to touch upon the basic essence of disaster. I mean, it refers to an unforeseen and catastrophic event like flood or fire or drought, causing havoc to both human and natural life that we all know about it. But disaster is also depicted as, I quote, a situation involving a natural hazard which has consequences in terms of damage, livelihoods, economic disruption, and casualties that are too great for the affected area and people to deal with properly on their own, unquote, as put by Wisner, Gillard, and Gilman. I mean, the disastrous outcome of any kind of natural calamities is often characterized by collective trauma, displacement, and grave existential crisis on the part of human life. And victims to any kind of a disaster are left with an abominable afterlife with unhealed scars, leading to a sense of spatial dislocation. And basically, this paper seeks to address those uncharted terrains of existential crisis born out of natural disasters and climate change. And in doing so, it aims to revisit and rediscover the hidden facets of Sundarban trilogy by Amitav Ghosh, the chronicles of which conspicuously testify to the ecological imbalance and bring forth the displacement, migration, resettlement, and collective resilience of human agency in the aftermath of a disaster. Coming on to my first slide, as you can see, So, The Hungry Tide, one of the best works of fiction by Amitav Ghosh, intricately weaves a narrative framework against the backdrop of a bewildering setup of the iconic delta of Sundarbans. The geographical location of this Sundarban archipelago serves to be a succinct metaphor in the novel. On one hand, the physical environment of the Sundarbans represents the coexistence of both the natural and human world, contributing to its rich biodiversity, and on the other hand becomes a searing threat to the characters of Nilima, Kanai, Pia and Fokir, and all the other non-human agency in the face of natural calamities and disaster. I mean, this chaos and disruption is something which is painstakingly hard to cope with for the said characters, the result of which leads to trauma and existential crisis. I would like to move on to my second slide, that is on Gan Island, the second novel in this trilogy. This novel also connects the theme of human displacement and environmental crisis with historical and mythological narratives, thus further exploring the conflict between human greed and nature. The plot basically involves a journey to the protagonist Deen Datta to the Sundarbans to record a shrine dedicated to the goddess of snake, Manasa Devi, in the course of which he gets entangled in the legend of the gun merchant while confronting themes of climate change, migration, and myth. His journey leads to a supernatural encounter involving a snake bite and visions that blur the lines between reality and fantasy. The novel uses the myth of gun merchant to highlight how environmental crises such as floods and rising sea levels are causing human and animal migrations, drawing parallels to our current climate situation. And the third one in this trilogy, the name of which is Jungle Nama, it is published in the year 2021. As you can see, it is the last slide I'm having for my discussion. Focuses on, I mean, this novel serves to be a kind of a hymn in raising ecological awareness and helps us discover the intricate tapestry of natural resources, indigenous culture, and human existence. Jungle Nama is a verse adaptation of an ancient Bengali folktale from the Sundarbans about the goddess of Bono Bibi. The story follows the poor boy Dukhi, who is betrayed by his greedy uncle Dhana and left for dead in the jungle, but is saved by Bono Bibi and her warrior brother. The book uses a verse meter to retell the story, which also serves as an allegory for ecological issues like deforestation and human-induced climate change. And to this Jungle Nama basically calls for a striking balance between human needs and nature. And coming on to the conclusion, therefore we can say that this Sundarban trilogy by Amitav Ghosh can be said to be a kind of a glaring testament to the trauma, migration, and displacement of both the human and non-human agency, and leading to the mystifying phenomenon of existential crisis, the facet of which can be put in the very words of the author himself. I quote, "We are in new world now. No one knows where they belong anymore, neither humans nor animals." And this is how I would like to conclude. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you so much. Any questions?
Sir, if you allow me, then I will take just 1 minute. I have
Please.
a little observation.
Yes, sir.
And question also. Thank you so much, sir, Arjit sir, for your wonderful presentation on Sundarban regions and their people, and Amitav Ghosh in particular.
Yes,
Since you're talking about snake bites and the scenarios of Sundarban people, I was working on a poem that also reflects the same theme. After reading this, it is written within 4 lines. After reading this, I will ask the question first. So the poem's name is Kharir Chingri Kakra. Kharir khade amra ধরতে চিংড়ি আর কাঁকড়া, কিছু তো অর্থ তো দরকার, করতে জোগাড়, ভাত আর শিক্ষা বেটি ব্যাটার, হঠাৎ দেখি চোখে আধার, হয়েছি বাঘ বা কুমিরের খাবার শিকার, কখনো বা মেলে বিষদ সাপের ছোবল, কখনো বা ডুবে ট্রলি মাছ সমুদ্রের জল অতল, আমরা দরিদ্র মৎস্যজীবী প্রাণ হাতে নিয়ে মাছ ধরি, So based on this and your presentation, my question is, how do you relate how do you relate the real circumstances of the people of Sundarbans with reference to your presentation?
So it's a very intriguing question. Personally, I have been to Sundarban once or twice I think. But as for if you are able to, as because sir, you are also a research scholar and you are studying now, researching on different aspects of literature, and if you are able to go through the books of Amitav Ghosh, he is also a kind of an anthropologist, and what he does specifically, the mastery of his craft is he is able to represent any kind of details in his book. I mean, this kind of a book in such an immaculate way that all the things seem to be very vital and vibrant in front of your eyes, even if you have not been to that place, right? So as for me, and as I told you in the beginning, I went to the Sundarbans. I had been fortunate enough to be there twice, long back. It was long back, but when I went there and I used to talk to the villagers about the condition of their lives and how they actually face the natural calamities. What are the things they used to do or they do in the aftermath of the natural calamities? Whatever they said, I could visibly, or I could, so well relate to everything Ghosh basically, puts in his book. So this is why I personally feel that Amitav Ghosh is such a renowned author, worldwide author, because his characters are a living specimen of that community. And whatever he is depicting in his book, I am telling you, be it if you go about the Calcutta Chronicles, is that book also. So everything. I mean, as for the migration or displacement, whenever he is choosing a kind of a topic, he is trying to do that in such a way that it becomes vibrant, and you just go into the characters and feel the pulse of everything. So as I hope I am able to satisfy your question, but the thing is, it's a very hard thing, and it's a very hard life the people over there are having, particularly in the aftermath, and that's why I have chosen to this kind of a topic for this seminar. So this is what I would like to say to your question, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Actually, I am so much passionate about riverine
Yeah,
culture
yes,
and
yes,
river
yes,
studies.
yes, yes.
So,
And sir,
recently,
I
sir,
would like to.
this is my humble gesture. Recently, I have completed this Jungle Nama you're mentioning. Just you have mentioned
Yes,
today.
Jungle Nama. Yeah. Sir, I would like to thank you because in your presentation, I was not able to interrupt. I did not interrupt you in between because this Bengali poem you had read in between, that also shows about your emotion, and as because you are coming from that community, and particularly what I like that you had a kind of an experience of spending on sea for the last 2 decades, and I'm particularly glad that you are able to put all your life, real life experiences into this paper. And that is, and Nicholas sir would also agree with me on this point, that it's a very unique kind of a thing when you are just putting your real life experiences into this paper presentation, it becomes much more lively. And that's a
This is your
wonderful thing,
kind
sir.
gesture.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you, all of you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
Thank you,
And
sir.
in fact, yeah, it's been fascinating to listen to all the presentations because they were quite varied. There were real life disasters, but there is also an overlap between that and works on fictional works of literature. And also, it sort of covered a large geographic space, this session, if you think about it, from the hills of North Bengal to the ecological sort of fragility of the Northeast,
Right,
to
sir.
Malda, and right down to the Sundarbans. And the presentations also covered a fairly sort of large or long temporal period. So it's been very extremely fascinating, and it's if anyone has any more questions for any of the speakers, in fact, this would be a good opportunity to just ask. We can spare the 3-4 minutes on that. And if that is not the case, in that case, I will sort of take this opportunity to thank the organizers of the International Conference on Disaster and its Afterlife. I would like to thank Dipankar Das, who has been meticulous with his timekeeping and has ensured that this session runs on time. special thanks to all the presenters for your very thought-provoking presentations, expressed very articulated, very clearly, and for definitely for keeping to the time limit. We know that it's a short session. In an hour, we've had 6 people present, but it's been a pleasure. So thanks to everyone who's here, and I hope that this sort of leads to collaboration perhaps, and definitely to success in your chosen fields. Thank you.
Sir,
Thank
I would also like to thank all my fellow paper presenters and the organizing committee of this international seminar. And though, as you can see, I'm sitting in my college right now, so it was a pretty hard on my part to manage a class like this. And I was having a chat with Debussy said last day. He said, "Oh, sir, no issue with that." So it was really, I feel privileged to have attended this kind of a seminar, and I came to know a lot of things from all the paper presenters. And we hope to have a fine session tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
And all the best for your future endeavors, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thanks,
Thank you, sir. Yes.
everyone. And it's
Thank you,
great that all of you could join from different
Yes.
sort of areas of the country. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye, sir. Bye.
Yes. ঠিক আছে, ক্যামেরাটা প্লে করে দাও, লাইভ করতে যাবো। হ্যাঁ, সরি, স্ক্রিন প্লে দেখো কাটা গেল। ভালো করে দেখলে কি দেখা যাবে, পরের বার থেকে সাবধানে জ্বালাইতে দিই। লাইভ করতে সব সামনে দিয়ে যাচ্ছে, হোক না হোক, মজাটা বুঝতে হবে। আমার কাছে ক্যামেরা তুলতে আমি এরকম করে দেখাই, এরকম করে লোকটাকে ইয়ে করতে হবে, শিক্ষা দিতে হবে। তারপরে ব্লক করে রাখছি, ইয়ে হবে, হয়নি তো এখন। ও করবো এটা আবার স্ক্রিন কি দেখা যাচ্ছে।